Well, good morning. It is the 19th of November 2020. We are going to Manayunk, Pennsylvania, part of Philadelphia, and we have a bunch of handyman jobs to do for this woman. Some of it's drywall repair, windows that are stuck or off track, lights that aren't working. So we're gonna investigate these jobs and see if we can get them all repaired for her. However, I don't know if we'll be able to take video of everything, but we'll take video of whatever we can and try to get you some shots. So I appreciate you tuning in, and it starts right now. You got gigantic gaps where you see daylight out there, and same thing up here is daylight. This side daylight, and this isn't even in there straight. What he should have done is maybe put a block of wood next to this one so that this didn't have to be pulled so far over, because it's kind of bent out of proportion there. But I'm not fixing his work. I'm here to put the drywall back in that he made a hell of a mess of. So down here is the biggest problem. It's all brick, as you can see, and there's 1x3s here, but there's a gap behind them. They're not even flush up against the brick. So I'm gonna have to put probably a 1x3 or something across the bottom of that. But I want to get all this drywall cleaned up first. And as far as this drywall over here, this is just going to get patched. I'm not going to cut this out and replace it. I'm just going to patch it, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do that if you stay tuned. So what I want to show you is that this drywall, can you see it moving? There's a space behind it. It's not even completely up against the structure. It is up here at the top, and it is here on the left. It's not at the bottom. There's a space behind it at the bottom, 3/4 of an inch in some places. See how it moves? And then this side here. So in order to fix this, we're going to have to put drywall in there, and then we're going to have to build it out with Durabond or drywall compound, something to try to make it even with the rest of the wall. And of course, this whole thing is damaged here. That's an amateur cutting through the wall to put this in. I don't know why you would destroy the drywall like that so badly, but I guess if you're in a rush to get something done, you just want to get your paycheck. But we're going to make this look beautiful. Alright, so I cut this 24 inches long. I didn't have to rip it down, it's very the size it is. Just want that underneath of this for something to adhere to. I'm going to make a mark where my mortar joints are. And then I'll pre-drill them. And we'll line this up with them again. And we're going to go through with a hammer drill. Put some anchors in there.
Got a band on too.
Like that. And these washers are the ones that came off of there, but they're just big enough for this. So we'll put a couple washers on it just to make sure she holds real good. Like that. And now that piece of wood's strong on there. So now we'll have something to put the drywall over. Now this sits back a little bit from, this piece sits back a little bit from this piece because this is away from the wall. So the screw head that's here and here will make up for the difference. So when I put a piece of drywall in here, we might have to shim it or whatever. But most of this problem is going to be hidden with Durabond 90. That's going to be the saving grace in this whole repair, because that's going to allow us to make up the difference, pack things in, and make it harden up nice. Durabond 90 it hardens like concrete, so it's not like typical drywall compound. And when you stick it in and let it harden, it's strong, very strong. It won't chip, crack, bust apart. In fact, if you hit it with a hammer, it probably won't either. All right, so I cut that 29.5 by 3, and I don't care that it sticks back a little bit further. That don't bother me. What does bother me is this. Where that piece of metal is that holds the outlet in, this sticks out beyond the piece below it. So I can't cut this back here, because if I do, I'm kind of filling in too much with Durabond. You see that? And this metal flange comes all the way over to here. Way over to here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a pencil and we're going to mark where the flange ends. Right on here. Then we're going to take this down. We're going to transfer that line to the back, which is right here. And we're just going to do a small little cut right on the back of that and peel up the paper. We are not trying to bend the board or chip it. We're just trying to get the paper off the back of it, like so. Once you got pretty much all the paper off, you're going to take something sharp. This is a little crowbar, and you're going to get the rest of it off. Now the paper's off, you're going to use the same crowbar and you're going to thin this out in the back. Just the thickness of that metal flange that holds the outlet on. All we're doing is thinning the drywall. Now it's flush with the wall. Then you can screw it into place. And because we know we have that piece of wood behind there, something to fasten it to. Now we need to do this side. Now I'm not going to worry about this right here because I'm going to use tape on that and I'm going to fill that in. I'm not going to try to cut it out to the next stud, just make more work for myself. I'm just going to cut a narrow strip that fits in here and I'll trim this up a little bit. And that sticks a little proud as well, probably from the screw there. So we'll do the same thing. We're going to mark the area that we want to gouge out. And there it is. Sometimes you just need to fill a hole a little bit, and it doesn't really matter what you put back there as long as it doesn't protrude. So I'll just use some of this left over. Just use blue tape, painter's tape here that they had wrapped around it. That'll create just a little bit of a backing there. So this here is Durabond 90, and it hardens like concrete. You can't sand it, so don't put it anywhere and expect to sand it down later. This is strictly for filling larger sized holes. You want to fill all your seams with Durabond 90. Just the seams, not onto the wall anywhere. I mean, you can get some on there and clean it off, but you want to pack your seams full. Don't anywhere near the edge. Straight off. You want to get over because you have to go in the other. And no trouble. Don't wait. Really wait. This is just a rough cut to get all the seams taken care of. Pack that full. I got to hold everything together. Make sure nothing protrudes the wall. You don't want to protrude. You don't want to punch it down. Not supposed to put it yet. Make sure everything's below the surface of the wall. Everything. Yes, make sure. Pack it in. I'm going to put the fan on here and speed up the 9-minute drying process. So. Alright, so all the Durabond's on and we got a fan blowing on it. That'll help speed up the process of drying. I was able to get all of the holes packed with the Durabond. So we're here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Manayunk section. This is the client's rental unit and the air conditioner's in the other room. We got 90 minutes or so to wait for that Durabond to dry. Kitana is going to spray the part of the drywall where the paper's showing with some shellac that will seal it so that we can mud over it. And we have a unit next door that she owns, and we're going to do a little bit of work over there while that fan's blowing on that. I don't know if we can use the camera over there because the client might be home, the tenant might be home. So the client's not here, but the tenant might be home. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so Kitana's going to spray some shellac. It's clear shellac, and by spraying that onto that brown paper, that will seal that up.
Durabond 90 takes 90 minutes to cure. I've sped that 90 minutes up for you here.
So most of the Durabond 90 is all cured up. There's a few that aren't, a few spots that aren't yet, but that's all right. We're gonna just get a tape seam going on here. This is 5-minute mud, so it cures a heck of a lot faster than the Durabond 90 minute. But we just want to get the seam between these started so that we can go do one more job for the woman in another apartment, and then come back to this and at least get our first coat on. Now I'm just using a little bit of this 5-minute mud to fill in the cavity that's next to the sleeve. That ain't necessarily what you're going to run into if you're doing the same project, but they don't have the frame that goes around it. They've somehow misplaced it. So with that said, I want to make it as clean as possible. You get all the squeeze out off of it. This stuff does sand. 5-minute mud does sand. Now this part isn't dry yet, but that's all right. It'll dry under what we're doing. Just want to get this tape coat on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this extra piece of tape and I'm just going to go right over that. I know it's not dry yet. That's okay. I'm going to go right over that hole. Once that hardens up, we'll be able to cover this with regular drywall compound. Oh, hey, you're in here. Were you waiting for me? I hope I didn't keep you waiting very long. This is the top coat. This is all-purpose mud. It's been mixed, and I mixed it again with a 1-inch trowel, and we're going to coat that now. And this will be the top coat that will need to be sanded, and possibly another coat after that. But we got to get that on before we can call it a day. Now this you can't put on very thick, because this will crack. Now you can see the tape in there a little bit. That's okay. It doesn't matter. When you paint that, you won't see that tape. It'll paint over it. As long as you got it completely covered in mud, you're okay. Sometimes it's electric. It's right there. Works best. Put a lid on until you right down. Let it dry. So I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, but there's a guy on YouTube. Well, he used to be on YouTube. God rest his soul. He's deceased now. His name is Dino Pinch, and he had the Handyman Zone, which was an old YouTube channel that I always found comical because he would do various jobs, but he'd always throw some really strange commentary in. He definitely was like a womanizer. But some of the work he did was really good, and some of it was like really not good. And he always thought of himself as like a superstar. And he'll tell you in his videos that YouTube has made him a partner, and he made it out to be like this. Like they called him up and was like, "We need you, dude. You know, we need your channel." It really isn't anything like that. But if you watch the guy, if you want a good laugh, and you like watching handyman videos, this guy is a trip. His name is Dino Pinch. You saw the image I just stuck on the screen. He's deceased now. He died, I believe, in 2018, and he died in his sleep. I will also put his obituary up so that you can see it. If you want to Google the guy, you'll find information about him. He's from New York, and it's too bad that he's passed on. His videos were very comical. They were also informative. You did learn some things from his videos. He pointed out, different cartridges for faucets and repairs that he'd done and trampolines he's put together, and he gives you some good tips and tricks along the way. And some of them are not all that wonderful, but they're made out to be fantabulous. You know what I mean? So if you want a good laugh and you want some good entertainment, check out Dino Pinch. He has like almost 25,000 subscribers, and he hasn't posted a video in 2 years. So he's no longer with us anyway. So subscribe to his channel. Check him out. I think you might like it. So this is how it looks for the day. We have to let all of that compound, the all-purpose compound, harden up, and then it'll take a light sand and another coat, and we'll spread it out just a little bit further on both sides. The top is probably good enough. The bottom is probably good enough. And then she's going to order the frame that goes around the air conditioner. We'll pop the plastic frame on there, and that'll hide the chassis that it's sitting in, the sleeve, and she should be in good shape.